everyone. Let's see, we got my voice working today. No delay on the video, that's great. Not sure what happened yesterday, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Just double checking how we're doing on Twitch. Just give me 1 second. Yep, that looks good. So, what are we doing today? Well, it's going to be scrap metal day. But before I do that, I'm going to be doing trying to do a Tresquil. But the first thing I'm going to be doing today is this fire flint steel striker. For whatever reason, I think my heat treat didn't work because it is not sparking. So I've tried the other one that I did the same day, and it does spark, but I notice a different sound when I strike this one as opposed to the other one. The other one has more of a, let's say, crisp sound, where this one has more of a down, dull sound when I'm striking it. So that's why I think it's not hardened enough. So I'm going to heat treat this again. Yeah, and then we'll get on to the scrap metal project today. So we'll just get that heated up. I'm not trying to heat it up too much today. Just enough to get it to that critical temperature, which, you know, the magnet doesn't stick to it. So I'm doing a little cleanup too while I'm at it. Yeah, coffee. So how's everyone doing today? Beautiful Friday. A little busy this morning. Had some orders to get out, actually make. I do steel dishes, and I've been desperately waiting to get steel. I buy it in the 4x8 sheet, so that means it has to go on the trailer. And my trailer was snowed in for most of January and February, so finally got out to that. I think I mentioned that on a previous stream this week. I think Wednesday, was it Wednesday? Yeah, because I did the shawl pins or cloak pins. Yeah, so Wednesday I got my sheet, so I had to get the plasma cutter going. That was awesome, other than my air compressor blew a hose. The line that goes between the one, so my pump is set up as a V, so the cylinders are, you know, the V shape. And the line that goes between the two just finally gave out. So, yeah, that was fun. Luckily, I was able to get that all cut before it died. But so yeah, we'll heat treat this up. See where my temperature is right now. So I'm just going to put that aside to normalize it a little bit because it has been heat treated already. And the piece I'm going to be working on today, if I can find a nice piece, I'm going to be doing 1/2 inch stock today, 1/2 inch round. As you can see, just from the scrap pile. Now I don't want to get the forge too hot yet because I'm still want to heat treat my my striker. So I get ready for that. Normally I would like to normalize it a little bit longer than what I'm going to be doing today, but it should be okay. So yes, I have, it looks like Twitch and YouTube is running okay, which is nice. I did fix my, well, temporary fix my network issue. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah. So for the scrap metal project, and what I normally want to do with the Fridays is go into the pile of scrap metal and do some random project with it. And I saw someone making a Tresquil pendant out of round stock. Just caught it on YouTube for some reason, and I'm like, I should try that. So up to this point, I have tried making some Tresquil pendants before, where I've cut the majority of it out with the plasma cutter and then do the swirl by forging it, and there's just really a lot of wasted material. So if I can get this nicely, this will actually use up some of the scrap metal in the corner over there. So I'm really hoping that I can get this to work out nicely. So I don't want to move you too far. I gotta pull you over eventually. So yeah, exciting day. And it's Friday. So tomorrow is my first show. So yeah, I was mentioning that. So tomorrow's my first show. So this morning was very much, let's make sure I got everything ready for the show. And one of the things was I want to check these guys to make sure, because I did get my flint in. I wanted to make sure these guys actually worked. And it just snapped. It just snapped. It seriously just snapped. This is why normalizing is very important. Now, do I want to attempt to fix that? It will be smaller. I think this is going to be one of these ones where, bye-bye. That was, yeah, normalize. I should have normalized that a little better. Okay, so we're not going to be heat treating that anymore. I will throw that into my high carbon steel pile. So maybe later on this will show up into a canister or something like that. I should probably let that cool a little bit. Let's just quench the whole thing. So, yeah, it just snapped completely. Just snapped. Well, I do have 2 more, and this is actually, the show tomorrow is only a 4-hour show locally for me. So the chances of me selling more than 2 of those strikers is very unlikely. So I'm not going to worry about it. So tools that I'm going to be using today, 2-pound hammer, my hot cut Hardy, and one of my chisels, one of my cutting chisels. I really should fix that one. I'll put that over aside. Be using one of my chisels today. Where is it? Yeah. This is the chisel I want to use today. Just tuck that on there. And yeah. So I'm going to adjust my forge now to give me a little bit more oxygen in it. Now that the failed heat treat is done. Do I want to make another one? No, I'm gonna wait. I do have my next like big show, which is a medieval fair. That one's up in May, middle to late May. So I have a little bit of time to restock those. What I am gonna do is take my toque off. It's a beautiful sunny day. And now that it's getting a little warm in here, that's great. I've heated that bar way more than I need to. Yeah, so my air compressor decided to break a hose. So I gotta do some work on that. It was due for an oil change and some maintenance. I was planning on doing that this summer. But I guess that's gonna happen a little sooner now. Now here's a question. Do you guys want to see me, take apart the air compressor and clean it all up and do the maintenance on it, or not? You guys want to see that? Because I have no problem doing that on Monday. Put it in the comments if you want to see that. You want to see me take it apart and put it back together. You might not see the hole taken apart and the hole putting back together. I might take it apart before and then clean it up and put it back together on the live stream. Come on, let me know if you want to see that. And if you want to see any, shop maintenance I do. So, if I recall correctly, I'm going to take 2 inches. I'm going to go right on the edge of the anvil. And I'm going to start the shoulder. And this is where and what I'm trying to do is isolate the steel at the front, and I'm only going to hit on 2 sides. Much like you would when you're starting a leaf. And I'm making sure I haven't messed up my shoulder. What I mean by shoulder is that little dent that I'm bringing in. I do not want a cold shut on this. So I'm only working 2 sides. And I'm going to come in and straighten up everything. I probably took a little bit more than 2 inches. It's probably more like 3. Yeah. Then we'll go for a heat on that. Making sure I clean my anvil. And now what we're going to do is come on the other side of the anvil with the isolation facing upwards. And we're going to set the shoulder on 2 sides. And you're going to make sure that you keep the steel that we just isolated on top, so it never touches, the isolation steel never touches the anvil. So it will want to kink up a little bit. That's okay. And what we're going to do is just draw out this middle section, working both sides, making sure that we're not messing up our shoulder. And we basically want to work this material in the middle here, square to roughly about 1/4 inch. I'm just going to straighten up a little bit, make it a little easier for me. We'll get heat on that. Just take a quick boo to make sure my 2 streams are happy. Looks good so far. Sorry, I've had issues this past week with my network, so I definitely want to keep an eye on it. Yesterday wasn't bad, though I somehow ended up with a delay between my voice and video. Not sure what that was about, because I didn't change anything settings wise, and today it's fine. So who knows? Again, I'm working the centerpiece down to about 1/4 inch. Making sure that I'm not thinning out my shoulders too much. Now, because I'm only working one piece today, I'm going to have a little bit of downtime between between heats. So if you guys want to ask questions, feel free to do so. Or just general banter, that's fine. Okay, so we got this part pretty well where I want it now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to soften this. I'm going to soften this corner a little bit here on this so I don't get a cold shut. And how I'm going to do that is I'm bringing it to the near side of the anvil. And I'm just going to hit that down right on the shoulder, hopefully. The reason why I'm doing this is for my next step, I don't want a cold shut to get in there. And I think I got one going, so. And what I mean by a cold shut is I don't want the steel to fold over on itself when I'm forging. Because if that does fold over and I continue to forge it, because there's scale underneath, it won't fuse together or weld together. And what will happen is that fold will keep on working itself down into the steel and cause what we call a cold shut. And it's pretty well just a crack. So I'm just taking a second now with a file just to, actually I'll probably use my round file if I can locate it. So I'm just going to take a file in there and clean up that shoulder a little bit, just so I can reduce my risk of cracking this steel. I'm only going to do this on the front where I actually isolated the steel. The back side is not going to matter because eventually that will get cut off. It keeps on wanting to fold over. And I know that a lot of my issues with this is because my anvil corners are not as clean as they should be. So okay, so now that I cleaned up that corner a little bit, I'm going to move over to the next step. Now, with the dry skill, if you don't know what that is, it basically is, 3 spirals that join together in the middle. Kind of looks like a triangle spiral thingies. Yeah. So the section where I already drawn out, that's going to be one of the spirals. Now that isolation on the top, I'm going to actually make 2 spirals out of that. And hopefully they all join together in the middle nicely and square. Well, not square, triangle. So we'll see how it works. So, then on the near side of my anvil, bringing it down. I'm just knocking that shoulder a little bit more down. And then I'm going to flatten this section out a little bit. I don't want to go too far down. I want it basically the same thickness that I drawn this out to. I'm going to go in and I'm going to divide that in half with my chisel. So I'm just going to follow the top of this, the corner of my isolation. Sorry, let me point that camera on here. So I'm just going to follow this line that I had from squaring off the isolation, and I'm just going to follow that up. I'm going to leave a little bit of space because I do want some material for the middle where all 3 of these spirals are going to meet. So at the colder temperature, I'm doing my layout. And every hammer hit, I am lifting up my chisel, checking to make sure I am on my mark. If I need to, I will fix it now. And it is easier to lay out stuff when you're at a colder temperature, because now you're not going to have your hand being roasted from underneath. Just want to deepen a little bit up here. That way when I do have it nice and warm, I'll be able to pull that a little better. So I'm going to get a heat. I'm only going to heat up that front piece I just flattened out. And I'm going to grab I'm going to grab a glove for my hand that the chisel's going to be at. Well, it's nice to see people coming. Unfortunately, they're going to. No chat yet, huh? Oh, Nate's here! Nate! You missed yesterday's video. I made something cool. I made that thing. That thing. That's okay, Nate. You can't make it to everyone. That's fine. I made a double hook that looks like a pair of tongs. little spiky on the back. Great practice for making tong blanks. These are made out of, that was made out of a 1/2 inch square, but you could totally do that with 3/8 square as well. Oh, and you missed, I had to reheat one of my, treat my flint striker things. One of them wasn't sparking right. So I had to reheat treat it. And it didn't go so well. It cracked apart. Yeah, and the nail or spike that I made, that was just actually with a bolt. So real easy to make project. Yeah, you need to take a look at that and make it. Now back to Scrap Metal Friday. I'm making a tri-skeel today, or attempting to make a tri-skeel. So right now, I'm actually dividing this piece. Oh, I need someone else to do my camera angles. I'm doing this piece where I'm trying to make two of the legs, I guess you would call it, of the tri-skeel. I hope I'm saying that right. So I'm not liking how that chisel's cutting right now. So that one's more shaped like a cold cut. So I'm gonna change up a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna change a little bit. No problems whatsoever with the chip hammer. I really don't know why it was just that one spot that it chipped out. I've gone over it, I cleaned the head and like redressed the head, and I can't see any more marks on it, like cracks. So I'm just gonna continue using it now. As you can see. So I'm getting close to splitting that right through. So on my next heat, I'm gonna pick up a piece of scrap metal and put it on my anvil, just in case if I do go through, I am not gonna ruin my anvil. That camera's a little slanted. What? Yeah, that's okay. If you make it big enough, you can. I'm going more pendant sides with this. At least I'm thinking I'm going more pendant side. But yeah, if you started with bigger steel, yeah, you can definitely use this to hold pots on the counter. Okay, so I got that split now. And what I'm gonna do on my next heat is I'm gonna take it over to the vise because I don't want a sharp corner. I don't want a sharp corner at the bottom of that split. So I'm gonna go over with my fuller, if I can find it. I gotta clean this. Nope. I gotta put tools back where I got them from. I'm going to take a fuller punch to leave it a little bit more rounded down there. Once I find where it is. Where is it? You're learning all the terminology. The sad thing is I just had this like not that long ago. I think I used it last week, actually. Okay, I was going to do it with a fuller punch, but I'm going to change that up with, I'm hoping my cross peen can fit in there. This cross peen, it is not hardened. Whoever manufactured this did not harden it right. So it has become my striking fuller. Normally I would not. Oh, I should move you over so you can see what I'm doing. Normally I don't strike hardened hammers because they can chip. So, yeah. This one is not hardened, so I have no problems with hitting it with a hammer. I'm going to try and get you as close as possible. I do have an extension USB coming, so I can next week pull you closer to my vise. Unfortunately, that's next week. So, what I'm doing, I'm gonna grab it. I'm still at the the part I drawn out. And I'm gonna grab that on the vise. And I'm gonna come in here with my fuller, and I'm gonna whack that down just to soften that corner as much as I can, because I do not want a sharp corner in there. And I think that's got it. I'm not worried about it being a little twisted. Yeah, I didn't flip cameras again. So I got that mostly fixed up there. So we're going back in the forge. And now we're going to start taking each one of those little fly-off things, and we're going to start working that down and tapering that. And I'm bringing out some soapstone, and there's a reason for this. I want to mark out how long these legs are, because I want to start off with this material all close together as close as possible to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the back of my anvil, and I'm going to mark out how long one of these are, because when I want to cut off, so I just took one of these guys and I marked out roughly how long it is, because what I want is I'm going to be cutting this piece off eventually, and I want to know how far to cut it off. So by putting a mark on my anvil now before drawing out, I know roughly where I need to be. If that makes sense. Now, when I do get the first one drawn out, depending on where it lands, if it's the perfect width of my anvil, I won't mark any spots on my anvil. But if it's not, and it goes further than what my anvil will be, I'll do a mark on my anvil somewhere else, so I know to draw out the other three that far. Other two. There's only three of them. And we're getting rid of the glove because it's no longer needed. And I just want to make sure I don't take my mark off my anvil. I'm going to actually cut it first and then draw it out. So I'm gonna draw out the two that I just split off first. And then once that's done, I'm gonna cut off the last one and draw it out. The reason why I'm doing that is so I don't have to get tongs out until the very last one. When I draw these out, I'm going to do a square first, and then this will be going to round. So right now, I'm able to stretch it to the edge of my anvil. So I think I'm going to stop there, as in drawing it out. So right now, when I go from square, it's going to be from that little notch in here all the way to the end, length of my anvil. So now I'm going to round that off. So now I know all my other two pieces, when I'm doing square, I will draw them out to that same size. So I'm just going to take down the corners. And make an octagon. Making sure I get as far into that crotch as possible. And then I'm going to just start rounding this off. So that's the one side done. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on this other side that's still there. Yes, I am going to be, my plan is to sell stuff this weekend. Now, if I do sell stuff, great. The plan is to sell stuff. So, some of the stuff I'm bringing is those cloak pins that you saw me do. I have the candle scribes or hairpins. Those are coming with me. I also have a couple of hammers. So I got a 3.5 pound cross peen, 3 pound rounded hammer, and then my Damascus rounded hammer is going with me. No, the mini candle fire basket thingamajiggy is going on the wall. I got to make brackets up one day and put a shelf up there and put it up there. Yeah. It's too nice to let go. There's some things where it's just like, no, this is mine. Yeah. Especially with it being, you know, the exclusive first one I've ever done, and it was during a live stream, you know, that brings in a lot of money, you know. Me being the big YouTuber I am. So I'm just gonna get this guy out of the way. And I'm really hoping this shoulder here is not too thin. Anyway, so I'm gonna draw this guy out now on the square, and it's gotta stretch all the way out to the edge of my anvil. So it might take a couple of heats. It's not the easiest thing to move around. It's also not the easiest thing to fit into my forge. It's so crappy I can't sell it. Actually, you know what? In all honesty, I have someone that would buy that. Even pure crap. Yeah. I do have a couple people that I tend not to show everything to because they would just buy it. I do have a handful of people that I can show them something and they will throw money at me. Sometimes they don't have the money to throw at me, but they still want to, which I really appreciated. It is definitely unique. Definitely unique. There's some things I would do differently with it, for sure. Almost everything I do first time, there's always something I would do differently. Some of that was just trying to get it done in a live stream. It's quite a different way you're thinking about steel and how to move it when you're trying to do the most you can in that, you know, hour and a half kind of time frame. Because if that was a custom project that someone asked me to do, I probably would spend 4 hours on that, making sure everything was lined up. And I probably would have made 2. So this one's almost stretched out to where I want it to be. So we're going to come in, round that off, and yeah. Well, I got a question for chat. If I wanted to do some maintenance around my shop, you know, like air compressor fixing up and bandsaw fixing up and stuff, would you be interested in seeing that? If so, put 1 in the chat. Nate wants a cleanup stream. Would you like to watch me clean up my air compressor? I blew a line on it this morning. So I was gonna do maintenance on it in the summertime, in like a month or so. And this morning it actually blew a line, so it's out of commission right now. Which is not really good. Like my bandsaw, it needs all new bearings. Also, I got to make a new handle, tourney handle thingy for the tensioner on it. Right now, it's just a bolt with a piece of steel on it. Maybe I'll do maintenance Mondays. So now that I got both of these pretty well, oh, I should check to see if I drawn them out. Oh, where's my chalk? Okay, soap stowed. So I'm just gonna check quickly to make sure. Yeah, we're close enough. We're within 1/8 of an inch of those two. So this is where we're at right now. Whee! So now that I got those two where I want them, I am gonna go and cut off this piece where I need it, if I can get it into the forge. So the hole on my forge is only like 3.5 inches by like 1.5 tall. So sticking stuff in that's wider than that is not that great. And having the door open on the side when trying to heat up something, also not so great. That is one of the downsides with a propane forge. You're sometimes limited to what you can do because of how big your forge is. Coal forge is a lot easier to deal with. But I'm not going back to coal. So, I'm gonna get my hot cut out because I'm gonna cut off the next piece. Once I straighten this up enough so I can actually get this back in the forge. So I'm just gonna bring these guys back into each other a little bit. And now I got a fork now. So that's my fork. That's the show. See you guys later. In all honesty, I looked at Amazon and they have a forge with a blower, a coal forge with a blower for like $150 Canadian. Actually, I'm gonna double check that. Don't quote me on that. I'm gonna look at it right now. Hey, what did I sell? Sweet. Let me look right now. Well, I'm waiting for that to heat up. Yeah. The thing is, the fire pot, you don't need that big of a fire pot for your forge. basically the rule of thumb with coal is whatever the thickest diameter of steel you plan on using, that's how big your fire hole should be. So my coal forge I had a 2.5 inch air intake at the bottom. Oh, you just bolt it down, it'll be fine, it won't tip over. But now I'm gonna look, I gotta make sure I'm right on that. But yeah, the forge I made was from a brake drum. Yeah, 150 Canadian, and it would be here tomorrow. Did I give dimensions? 7.5 inches. At least this one is. I thought I saw another one on here. Yeah, the one that has the legs. I don't know if you looked at that. Yeah, no legs. Another one that has a whole like table and stuff like that for 300. I don't think it comes with a blower though. In all honesty, the 150 one, yeah, it probably would do okay. I would just bolt it down to a nice table. Just make a table out of angle iron or something like that. Make it so you can fit like a patio stone on a shelf underneath, so you have that weight on the bottom. Yeah. You can make little crossbars so you can put your tongs and stuff. Yeah, forge welding is so much easier in a coal forge than in a propane. So much easier. You don't need flux when you're doing, like if you're just joining two pieces together, like say making tongs and you don't want to draw out the rains and you just want to forge weld rains on. Coal, you don't need flux, just done. Bring it up to sparky, almost burning temperature and just hit it. Oh yeah. Yeah, so my first forge was a coal forge, and it was made from an old brake drum off of a pickup truck. I think it was your little bit bigger pickup truck, so like a 250, like an F250 or something like that. I don't know if it was a Ford or a Chevy or whatever, but that kind of size. And I had it where I had a table on it, like a table around it. Actually, funny enough, the table for that forge is the table that my press sits on. Yeah. I'm gonna need tongs anyways. Let's get the tongs out. I haven't looked at induction since last year. I think for a proper induction forge, you're still looking over $1,000. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. A lot of that just has to do with what's inside it, and also you're going to have a cooler as well with it. Like there's a lot of components inside induction forges. And stay away from anything that is like, here's a $120 kind of thing. Stay away from that. You're gonna waste your money. For something like an induction forge, I would be more inclined on going with the company that is has established themselves a little bit. Just because, especially if it's going to be like your main workhorse, now of course, everyone's probably just buying from the same manufacturer and just rebranding. And it really comes down to what you're doing with your forge. Also, how cheap is your electricity? So yeah, I've looked into it. Like last year I looked into it, and I just can't justify getting induction yet. Keyword yet. I don't know. Maybe if this whole like streaming thing blows up and people throw money at me and wants me to do unboxing and stuff like that, hey, maybe. Oh, do you guys want to see unboxing? Like, do you want me to go to Amazon and buy like rapid tongs? Let's buy the cheapest rapid tongs out there. So if you don't know what rapid tongs are, it's just tong blanks made out of like plasma cut. And then you do like a little bit of forging with them, rivet them together, and you got a pair of tongs. You guys want to see that? Because I think it's been some months since I've done an unboxing. It's been some months. I am reaching out to companies that make welders. I do need a new MIG welder. Yeah. So I'm reaching out to some welders to, well, not welders, but like welding manufacturers. Because I need a new MIG welder, and you know, you guys want to see unboxings? You want to see that? No? Yes? Or do you want that to be like a regular, like scripted? Pretty well, do you want to see it live or not? I haven't been paying attention to what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. Got a little skewed. This is not going to be the cleanest looking thing, but it's not bad. Oh, it's not wasting money if I'm teaching people stuff. Okay, so I got all 3 of those sides drawn out. And, oh, I should check. Sorry. I think I got them all drawn out. Yeah, got them all drawn out, rounded off. So now, it's the little squirrel thingies. Where are we at with time? 2:45, okay. Oh, I'll just get them to send it to me so I can do a video with it. Also, if I buy something and I don't like it, I'm just going to sell it to someone else. It's okay. It's all content, right? Other camera. Boop. Okay, so I'm going to start scrolling this. And which way do I want to go? It doesn't matter. That's the one. Let's get the other ones done. Yeah, I was actually gonna buy the rapid tongs anyways, just to see how they're like designed. Because I can cut the thickness, like 5/16 is what normally they're made out of. And I can cut that with my CNC. So maybe I'll make my own rapid tongs. Actually, the price that they are now on Amazon, I can't cut them for that. But how about ready-made tongs? So I want to make sure I'm swirling them the right way. So the same way on all three. And these particular tongs are not the best for them. So I'm gonna go in for I'm gonna heat this up again and switch tongs. My flat bits are moving. So I'm going in with my 3/8 V-bit tongs. A day messing with the plasma. Well, yeah. My problem with that is currently, so how my plasma hooks up is it's actually Wi-Fi, but it's its own like Wi-Fi network. So I have to drop my Wi-Fi on my laptop from my normal internet to connect to it. So I can't do a stream while I'm doing that. So that's something that I might think of. Because right now I have the network kind of working just for the streams, but I am planning on cleaning that up a lot because I used to be an IT specialist. So I actually know what I'm doing on that. Yeah. Doing these live streams actually was just a moment of, I'm just doing this now. So it's kind of been, I don't want to say hobbled together, but yeah, hobbled together just to get going. Yeah. So I'm trying to make these curls as consistent as possible with each other. And I might come in back to the first one and twist it a little bit more. Yeah. So there you go. So I'll get the last one curled over, and then I'll probably go back to the first one and yeah. Yeah, so I know how to do like networking and making it all nice and working pretty. But like I said, doing the streams was kind of one of these moments where it's like, I'm just gonna do streams. I'm gonna stream live. And yeah, it went as quickly as I can. So now I'm finding issues with my setup and trying to fix them. Now the nice thing is I already had this mic, so I didn't have to worry about that. But like the two cameras, I had that camera for a while now. But the second one only showed up just before doing these streams. That is right. Yeah, so that camera only showed up just before doing the streams. And yeah, so it's been changing things as need be. Well, that's why I started doing streams, is because it's only been recently I found someone else that does live streams when they're forging, and they're on Twitch as well as YouTube. But like other than that one other person, I haven't seen anyone that does consistent live streams. Like Alex Steele did his weekly stream way back years ago, and then that kind of fell off. So yeah, one of the reasons why I even thought of doing streams is over the winter, I got really into, well, I shouldn't say over the winter, for the past little while, I got really into watching people fix electronics. So, you know, your game consoles and all that. And I was just like, why don't we have a Blacksmith that does that? Like, just do live streams where it's like, this is what I'm doing. The reason why I didn't do it sooner is because I got caught up with thinking, well, what am I going to do? Like, I have to make every episode really interesting and compelling, and I think that's what happened with Alec, is that he thought that all of his shows had to be, like all of his live streams had to have a project that's only done in that live stream, and it has to be interesting and engaging, and yeah. Me, I'm here just doing stuff, making stuff. Well, a lot of it is, I was going to be out here forging anyways. Yeah, why don't you join me? Well, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, Alex Steele, he's a great blacksmith, but his business model right now is content creation, and it has been for a long time. And there's nothing wrong with that. So he has to constantly gauge his time spent on stuff based on how many views he's gonna get. So unfortunately, when you do that, you have to, if you're looking at just your views, you have to do the big fancy stuff. And I'm not really into that. I'm not into the big flashy, as you can tell, I'm not into that big flashy, here's this 1 trillion layered Damascus and stuff like that. So, yeah. I actually watched Alec way back when he was still in his his old shop where he basically was just making tools. And I loved that. And he had Sam with him. I loved that time. That was like the golden era in my mind. I do not have a power hammer or a treadle. I only have the press. That is it. The reason, there's many reasons why I went with a press over a power hammer. A lot of it is just my shop, the concrete is just not big enough to handle a power hammer. With a power hammer, you need concrete that's at bare minimum, at least 12 inches. Mine's only 3. So, also, I don't know if my neighbors would really be happy about hearing bow, 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 bow. I love the sound, but I don't know if my neighbors will. So right now I'm just trying to get everything aligned a little bit better. So, yeah, I get that. Yeah. We do have, I can hear guys shooting at our gun club. Our neighbors are pretty quiet. So, and they also have younger children. I think the youngest is maybe 1.5 years. So I try to be respectful. Yeah. Sorry. I thought that was going to be something important. It's not. So I'm just going to continue straightening this, making it look a little better. Or try to make it look a little better. It is not the easiest shape, I think. Also, it's the matter of trying to find how I can hold it to bend it the way I want and not bend something I don't want. So I'm using my scrolling tongs right now. Monday's plan. Well, I got an air compressor I have to fix. So that might be Monday's plan. The show this weekend, it's not a whole weekend show. It's only 4 hours tomorrow. So I won't need to rest up. So that air compressor I bought used from a woodworker that didn't have the most best dust collector, if any, really. So it should be interesting to see what comes out. Yeah. Let's see how this looks. How does this? Okay. I think I'm gonna leave it where it is. I think if I muck around with it much more, I'm gonna be disappointed with it. I think. Maybe a little tweak. Just a little tweak. A little bit more. Yeah, so my air compressor came from a woodworker. Didn't have a good dust collector. So I've already drained. I drained and washed the tank out like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and it was just like sawdust coming out, like really fine particles. And I've actually had to change the ball valve for the drain twice because it just keeps on getting gunked up with like sawdust goo. One thing with sawdust, when it gets wet and then dries and like it kind of like, it almost gets hard like concrete. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do on Monday with the air compressor. I do got the new pipe coming in. luckily it's something that's common, and like the pipe is a common part. So I was able to order it from Amazon actually. So it's coming in tomorrow, hopefully. So yeah, the oil has to get changed. I'm probably going to break the pumps down almost completely, and it needs a really good wipe down. I had a little bit of an oil leak once, and it's got a lot of oil and dust on it, so it's got to get cleaned and stuff. But this is what I did today. Actually, I'm going to quench that so I can hold it. There you go. Here we go. Yeah. Oh. So not bad. Not bad for a first try. Yeah, I could just have it as a pendant kind of thing. Yeah. Just have it as a pendant. Bring it to shows. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really surprised too, to be honest. Yeah. To be honest. There's a little bit of tweaking that I could do on it. Yeah. So, like the setter should be a little bit more triangle looking and stuff like that. Probably what I would do next time is actually go a little bit deeper onto the cut into the middle, because I have too much mass in the middle here. But other than that, it's not bad. Yeah. Now that I say that, I can see more stuff that I want to change on it. But again, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, and I could just put that on the wall back here. I'll get one of my little tiny hooks, one of my little tiny horseshoe nail hooks, and I'll put it on the wall back there so you guys can see it all the time. Okay, so that's the show. I hope I entertained you all for a little bit. So maybe on Monday I'll start doing maintenance Monday. So stuff around the shop that needs to be done. The stuff that is not forging, that comes with a blacksmith shop. So yeah, I'm off to get some Chinese food. Yeah, have a good weekend, guys.